Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this video. I am Infinity43. Now in the last two videos we looked at two GT1 races from the 90s, the Porsche GT1 and the BMW V12 LMR. So this video is sort of the end of a trilogy of GT1 races, if you will. So in this one we're looking at the Mercedes CLK GTR. Let's dive right in. Now it wouldn't be a stretch to say that Mercedes has quite possibly the most decorated and accomplished history in motorsport. I wouldn't necessarily say the most iconic, that title would almost certainly belong to Ferrari, but Mercedes has a massive motorsport history, admittedly with a few dark moments along the way. Even before the Mercedes-Benz name became a staple, their separate counterparts had plunged into motorsport. A Benz competed in the first motorsport race, the Paris-Rouen of 1894, and the Mercedes Simplex of 1902 achieved great success up until World War I. Mercedes-Benz would eventually be formed in the 1920s, but that history is not for this video. Hopefully we will get to that at some point with a future model review. For this episode, we're only focusing on Mercedes' venture into GT1 in the mid-90s, and they did it with this car, the CLK GTR. Now before entering the 1997 GT1 series, Mercedes had enjoyed great success in saloon racing, particularly with the absolutely beautiful E190. It's one of my favorite Mercedes race cars. I don't even know why I find it so attractive. I just do. They also won with the C-Class in 1994 and 1996 for the International Touring Car Championship. And competitors Alfa Romeo and Opel withdrew at the end of that 96 season, which brought the championship to a close, and this left Mercedes with nowhere to compete. They needed to find somewhere else to compete. And so their eyes fell on the BPR Global GT Series, which had recently been rebranded to the FIA GT Championship. Here, Mercedes saw an opportunity to compete in top-level motorsport against titans of the game. McLaren had been dominating the championship with its F1, but hungry challengers loomed, most notably Porsche, who developed the 911 GT1 to take on that mighty McLaren. As we saw just 2 episodes ago, and the link is in the description, the Porsche needed to be based on a road car and be homologated, but in reality it bore very little resemblance to its road-going 911 cousin, basically just sharing the headlights and a very basic broad shape. So Mercedes tasked AMG, its motorsport division, with creating a similar competitor based loosely on a road-going car but heavily modified to compete at such a high level. And thus the CLK GTR was born, and just like the Porsche, it bore very little in common with its street version: headlights, taillights and a grille. Yay for homologation! Now the CLK GTR debuted at its home track, the Hockenheim Ring, pre-devastating facelift. Initial pace was extremely promising, with Bernd Schneider taking pole and setting the fastest lap before sadly retiring with brake issues. The second GTR only finished 27th, but still Mercedes took positives from the pace and the development continued furiously. Victory would finally arrive at the 4th race of the season, the Nürburgring 4 Hours, where the CLK GTRs claimed 1st and 2nd place. The CLK would go on to claim a total of 4 1-2 finishes, as well as claim both the Constructors' Championship and the Drivers' Championship for Bernd Schneider, an excellent debut season. Now unfortunately the CLK GTR never saw Le Mans, as Mercedes believed the V12 was better suited to the shorter 4-hour races. However, Mercedes would develop a race car in 1998 specifically to tackle that grueling race, which would become the CLK LM, and in 1999 they replaced the LM with a prototype style race car, the Mercedes-Benz CLR. This is the first Maisto model that I've reviewed on this channel, and it's the only Maisto model that I own, at least as an adult child. When I was still a kid, I had a few 1/18 scale Dodge Viper models which were manufactured by Maisto. And even though I was only a kid and I didn't really think from a reviewing point of view, I did always find it a bit weird that the underside of the opening bonnet wasn't painted. It was just bare unfinished metal, which I thought was a bit odd. Now of course these smaller models don't have opening doors or bonnets, at least most of them don't, so I was interested in seeing how the quality would hold up. And I am pleased to say this is one of those pleasant surprises. The model is solid, well constructed and well presented. First interesting touch that I would like to point out is the base. Now you notice how the flat bit that the car stands on is a different color. It's almost like a bit of a wood finish. That is the same finish Mercedes used in their road cars during the 90s. Now I know this because my dad has one. It's a nice addition. It's like a nod toward the model and its era, and a neat little detail that some people might miss. I like it. Now the finish, I think it's good. The paint job is even and solid. The decals are as clear as one can expect for the size. The front wheels do this weird thing where they look like they're ever so slightly angled inward. I'm not sure if it's meant to be like that, if the real car was perhaps this way, or if it's a trick of the eye, or if it's a manufacturing defect. I even went on eBay looking for Mercedes models similar to mine and noticed the same thing with the Maisto ones. It's not a big deal, but every time I look at the car I notice it, whether it's on the base or off the base. It's a little bit strange. The last detail that I really like is the carbon fiber effect of the rear wing. Once again, this could have been left out of the final production and most model owners might not really have cared, but I really like the look of it. So overall, yes, a good buy. If it wasn't for the weird angled front wheels, I'd rate this model very highly. As it is, the Maisto CLK GTR is still one I'm very happy to own, and they go for reasonable prices on eBay, and I think it's definitely worth a look if you would like a GT1 winner in your collection.